The first thing to really break this topic down, because it is large, is our moon transitions through the 12 signs of the zodiac every month in about 28 days, right? So it's like 27 and a half to 29 days. I follow a calendar so that I can track it over time and just pay attention to the energies that I'm feeling as the moon passes through this. This is why I tell everybody to journal stuff, record your thoughts and feelings, your energy depletion time, so that you know when the moon is phasing through this, like how it affects you. That way your magic can be stronger when you do this stuff. It's like you'll know intuitively, oh, I'm always really low when it's in Leo, and yet that's a high vibrancy sign. So there's an imbalance there that I should try to work on. So paying attention to how you feel through the signs is a great first start. So if that's all you do for your first month of looking and watching the signs and kind of assessing how you feel, that's great. And then as the moon transitions these signs, there are 4 signs or 4 elementals that they go through: fire, earth, water, and air. Each of them really hold a different kind of power. And I think the cool thing about it, like the tide, as it transitions from one, like a fire sign, into the earth sign, it's like this fire sign is super high energy, go, 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 go. And you sort of get to the end of it and you wear yourself out. Well, then it goes into an earth sign, which is like, relax, ground yourself, like move slower. So I feel like that is the nature of our lives, where we have like 3 days maybe where we have high energy and then we take a week off. I thank the moon for that. And as long as everybody knows why the moon goes through the signs and the waxing and waning phases, it's because it circles around the earth. We only see one side of it, because as it rotates, we rotate. So we always see the same side roughly. We've got 8 degrees on each side of it that we see. So you're always looking at that same side reflecting the sun's light, which is amazing because it happens to be the side that has the least amount of craters on it, which means the most reflective surface. So we get these big, beautiful, bright full moons. I just love that. Everybody's always worried about the dark side of the moon. And I thought, well, then things would be very dull. It wouldn't be nearly as bright if the dark side of the moon was facing us, if it ever was to face us, because it's so full of craters that it just would not shine the way that it does on this side. So I'm grateful for our side of the moon, even though we don't get to see the other side. So I'm just going to go right into it with Aries. I did divide the signs up. So I'm doing fire first, then earth, then air, then water. So if you're waiting to hear the water sign stuff, that is going to come towards the end of the meeting. Fire is going to be first. And I've tried to give like 1-word descriptions to help you identify what this moon feeling would be about, as it's 2.5 days of your life that it's reflecting this energy back down onto earth for us. And this usually deals with our emotional sides, even though some of this can get complicated and be outwardly physical, like the exertion of energy through fire. So moon in Aries, if there's 1 word to go with this is all about your ego. So when the moon is in Aries, it's really pumping up your ego. And this is a me time. The thing to embrace that, if you're not, so this is where you'll start to see your own imbalances, but if you can embrace your like wild side, which by that I mean healthy, not like robbing banks or, speeding around town in your car and running red lights. Wild side, like get out into the jungles, play with your kids, get on a jungle gym, like the actual wild human nature of interacting and feeling those good feelings of being a little wild, like Tarzan. The energy really inside would be an outward flowing thing. So you're going to want to move. It's going to be like I almost want to say, on speed or cocaine or cracked out or whatever people say it is, be like, or too much coffee. That's a much better way to describe it. No illicit drugs involved. So if you've had 3 pots of coffee, this is the moon in Aries, and it's definitely about you. So the way this can reflect badly on us, the way we can pick up this energy in like a negative way is that, you're almost like, do what I say, I want to do this. You're very demanding like a kid. So this is childlike energy. So you can have that childlike tantrum during this phase. So things to work on or watch for when the moon is in Aries is showing your emotions in a healthy way. Like if you already know you're amped up, count to 3 before responding to somebody who's upset you. Being vulnerable. So the second that you show vulnerability, usually people reflect that back. So you can start that healthy communication by just saying what you're feeling. If it's like, I'm scared right now, I don't want to, or, I don't feel good, or I'm sad, or whatever it is, expose your feelings so that your vulnerability helps other people And then it's sympathy with others, because at this time it is all me, 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 me. And if you really get going in that, it's kind of like, I don't really care who I hurt. I'm going to do what I want to do. So sympathizing with others and understanding how they feel is a good thing to work on during this time. And definitely the biggest one, I have it in all caps, is like practicing patience. This will be the hardest time to practice patience, but it's the most necessary time. Like, this is when you'll be tested the most to practice patience and slow down. Aries moon is it. So if you want to put yourself to the test, that's the time. I gave some activities to do, like how to get your energy out in a good way. Definitely cleaning. Aries energy can just be like, let's reorganize the whole house. Let's rearrange all the furniture. That's Aries energy. You can also write down your goals and think about things you want to start moving towards. Get it out of your mind and onto paper so that you can make goals towards it. I definitely put go to a playground, because this is that time to be out there and rejuvenate your energy by getting inspired. So tonight I am going to sort of not perform spells, but show you what it looks like to walk through them. So rejuvenating your energy is one of the things that I want to show you how to do, sort of with just a candle, some thought process. So I love journal prompts, because if you can reflect on things that it'll help you grow. So I have 2 journal prompts for every sign when the moon is in this sign. So moon in Aries, you can express too much of this fire sign, and it's make a list of things that make you angry, because this is a base emotion. Like, this is one of the first things we learn: happy, angry, hungry, sad. Like, that's it. So one of the base emotions that we learn, write down a list of things that make you angry. And what you counter that with is, how do you deal with them? Like, be honest with yourself. I used to have really bad road rage, and I got tired of being called on it, so I worked on it. But, cussing and yelling at people and being upset in my car was a thing, because I had such anxious energy around that. So I had to work on it. So write down things that make you angry and then how you deal with them. And then write a mantra that you can bring into that space when you are angry, that you can repeat to yourself and be like, all right, I am not going to let this stuff get to me. I am just going to so I wrote a 4-letter mantra that I hung in my car, that when I start feeling the anxious feelings or the angry, or like 500 people cut me off, exaggerating, I have to say this over and over to myself and slow down. And then I think about them. That's the empathizing with others. Oh my gosh, they could have just got really bad news and they're racing home. I hope they make it there safe. I hope everybody's okay. All right. So that's the road rage thing for me. But wild side and rude side. Sometimes people think, this is my wild side. I'm just sassy. I say what I want. All right. But do we have to be rude? Do you have to take it to that level? So recognizing wild side versus like just being straight up rude and not considering other people. When you have too little of the fire energy, you don't take any risks. You sit back and you're like, oh, no. I am not safe enough to step outside my bubble, so I'm not even going to try. This would be a time when you should try to step outside of your bubble. That Aries energy will be pushing you forward. So the prompt for that is, when's the last time that you took a risk? How did it turn out? Because that's why you're not taking any more. And then what'd you learn from it? Because if you learned the lesson, you should be okay to go and try another risk thing, because you won't make the same mistake if you learn something, but you have to acknowledge the learning first. I kind of put down, I know too many Aries, so I put down healthy risks and unhealthy risks as examples. I'm sure you guys will get this, but healthy risks would be like small bet gambling, not blowing your last $200 on lottery tickets, if money's a thing. Like rock climbing and adventure sports is definitely a healthy wild side thing, to risk. And then racing, like 5Ks and swimming and whatever, sports, anything, because Aries is all about that movement energy. Unhealthy stuff. I've known many Aries friends who will go home with strangers from a bar. I think that's the scariest thing that you can do as a woman. So unhealthy risk taking, risking all your money, giving away too much, like too much of yourself, too much energy, not investing in yourself, but investing in other people. So that's an unhealthy risk. And then no judgment to anybody else, but cheating and stealing for me they go hand in hand, and you're undoing somebody else and you're undoing yourself. So that would be really risky behavior in my eyes. All right, for this spell, I'm gonna make sure you guys can see my table. I like to keep things super, super simple. We can see my face still. So I just have a red candle, because this is a fire sign. So anything red, you can have the white candle too. and you can put a red sign on it. You could put the Aries sign. You could wrap a red ribbon around it if you have that. I'm not a huge red fan. It does not go with my decor, but I have red candles and things. So with anything red for your candle, this is really all you need. And you need to really, you need to bring your mind to it. The best part of any spell is what you bring mentally. So any pre-spell stuff or pre-ritual stuff you guys like to do that first. I light a candle and say that I'm opening my third eye and crown chakra, and I'm inviting my team of light into my circle. And then you talk to the universe like it's your best friend. You do not have to have a written spell that's like rhyming and cute and old-fashioned English. You don't need any of that. It needs to feel very real from your heart. When you're really trying to work on something, it should feel like you're pouring your soul out to the universe. You should be, I say universe because you should be sort of in an alone space where nobody can hear you, not like in a public park where there's other picnickers around. You can do this at any time. Because we're going through moon stuff, I would do this during moon cycles of Aries, so at night. But it's, if you lack energy, so if you're at that place where like you're really down, that's what you're going to ask for. You light your red candle and then you just speak. You're like, I'm going to speak now. So you guys just imagine this is you. Universe, I've been working for a really long time trying to get outside of my comfort zone. I know I'm naturally an introvert and I really want to bring that fire like deep into my soul to get me out there and moving. And I'm looking for that flame to be lit in my solar plexus of all places, just that energy movement and get that circle going. So you say the words that you want to say and you sit there with that feeling and you imagine yourself doing the things. You're running that 5K or you're out there having a huge group of friends, because that's what fiery energy looks like to you. And for the opposite effect. So with that, that's it. You just sit with your candle and you can, like, when you're done and it feels good and you're done talking to the universe, say, thank you for being here, blow out your candle and you can be on your way. If it's that you have too much energy and you're scattered and like things around your house are never complete and you never put your laundry all the way away and the dishes are always like in transition and you just don't finish. Aries is a number one. So a lot of times they love to start things and not finish it. So if you need to slow down more, you ask for that. Like, I love the energy that I have, but I'd like it to be more paced and evenly spaced throughout my tasks. I'm looking for more focus, dividing up the fire that's in me. So that's the overflow of fire that you can ask for to even it out instead of having these, spurts. And for the candle, anything red on it, writing the symbol of the Aries sign on it, and then just speaking to the universe, looking for what you really need. You can add as much help as you want, which means crystals, plants, all of that, anything, or you can have it as little as that and just really sit with your intention and put it out there to the universe when you're in the moon, the Aries moon. So that is Aries. I don't see any hands up, so I'm going to continue. We're on to Leo, and you'll notice a theme throughout the elementals of the moon moving through this. So when the moon moves into Leo, where we had ego in Aries, we have the image now. This is the karaoke singer. That's what I think of Leo as. This is that person that's out there singing karaoke, like on stage, ready to perform, wants to put on a show, and loves it, embraces that part of themselves. So with the moon in Leo, the embracing motto is get shit done, honestly. There's not a better way to put it. They want you to complete things. They want to be that shining sun out in front of people and showing people that they can get things done. So if you want to get things done and you need spells to help you do it, this is the energy you want to invoke. It's getting on stage, basically. So if you got to do like a presentation at school or at work, or for your family, whatever it is, if you need to be out in front of people, Leo is the time to really perform it or to invoke that feeling. Things that we work on when moon is in Leo is our self-image and our self-love. We can get really caught up with how we look outwardly that we forget to take care of our inward self. So if you have self-image or confidence issues, Leo is the moon to work with, because they are like that, royal lion that wants to be out in front of everybody and be poised and perfect. That's going too far, but to really put on their best. So Leo is a great time to work on self-image. The activities for this, if you've never karaoke, I suggest you do it at least once, hopefully with a bunch of good friends so they can clap for you, even if you're bad. Any creative projects are wonderful during this time. And then taking care of your outward appearance. So this is the time to get spa treatments and facials. And if you're into waxing, getting your hair colored or cut, like all of this is amplified and improved during Moon in Leo. There's also a sexy side to Leo. So this can get very, sex kitten. If that's your vibe, then this would be a time to really embrace that too. If you want to be more sexy outwardly. So this wouldn't be like sex life in the bedroom, that's Scorpio. This would be just a sexy image. And then it's always have fun. Like Leos, they need to be having fun or they're going to be bored and they're going to walk away. For Moon and Leo journal prompts, it's because of self-acceptance with this. And I don't think that there's anybody that's like, I just love myself the way I am and it's totally perfect. Usually everybody's working on something. That's why we come here to work on something. But this question is really important. And I ask myself this every year. What would it take for you to radically accept yourself right now as you are? Like, love absolutely everything about yourself. When you journal prompt that and then you write down what that really looks like, feels like, what it would take, and just trying to overcome that in your head, you're one step closer to just full acceptance of yourself. And that doesn't mean that you're not going to continue to work on yourself. It's just that you accept yourself as who you are now. It's also giving up negative thought patterns about yourself. Like if you think you have kinkles or your thighs are too big, or men, I have a receding hairline, or it's too thin, or it's not dark enough, my eyebrows aren't bushy, whatever the problem is, this would be that time to really confront it and say, hey, there's got to be somebody who looks different. If we all looked the same, the world would be so incredibly boring. Like, let's all embrace how different we look and own it and be like, how can I best flaunt this attribute that nobody else really has? So that's the first journal prompt. And the second one is about the being self-conscious in front of other people. So how self-conscious are you in front of others? Really examine that. Like, what do you do with your hands when you're around other people? Maybe whether you know them or you don't know them. Are you waiting for your turn to talk? Because that can be a lack of confidence if you're sort of waiting for somebody to include you in the conversation. Do you feel like you need to impress somebody or be false around them? It leads to these false actions that when you walk away from the interaction, you're going like, yeah, that was fun, but it wasn't really me. I hope I don't have to be that person all the time when they're around, because that was exhausting. So it also tends to lean in like, do we speak up when things are right or wrong? Do we speak up? Is it hard for you to congratulate somebody, or is it hard for you to tell somebody that I hate to say did something wrong, but they did something that was like out of line, like, hey, this wasn't right in whatever context. So those are the journal prompts. And for the spell, this is ritual bath stuff. So this is appropriate in any and all of the signs, but definitely the water signs and the fire signs, because it lends to two things: replenishing yourself through the lighting of fire and being in water, because fire and water equals steam, and that's power. And then with water, it's like getting in touch with your emotions. So with a ritual bath, again, any of the pre-spell stuff or pre-ritual stuff that you're already used to and want to do your stuff. But this is a honey spell. And if you haven't done any honey spells before, it's about this, like the slowness that it takes to kind of achieve this. This is not a quick fix thing. This is a slow thing. All you need is a candle or candles. You can do like gold, or you can do red, you can do white. It's really just about the flame of the candle. So the color, I mean, I wouldn't do like green or blue, but black, white, red, yellow, any of the warm colors would work for this. So get your candles together. And then I put just a little bit of honey in a jar. This is one of my spell jars that I use and wash out. So I have a little bit of honey in here, and you would normally, oh, hello. You would normally add spices to it that are warming spices like cinnamon, nutmeg, cloves. But I have a cheat for you. If you can find pumpkin pie spice, because it's that time of year, pumpkin pie spice has all those things and you don't have to worry about buying 3 spices. So that's a little cheat, make things easier. I do keep a lot of cinnamon sticks around, so I'm going to be bougie and use a cinnamon stick to stir this. And you can lick these and they're really not awful. That's weird, but I'll tell you why in a second. So if you have your honey and you have your cinnamon, you're in your bath, right? You've lit your candles, you've done any of your pre-ritual stuff, you've invited in your team of light because you're working on yourself and you want them to be there to help you. And think about all of the things that you don't like about yourself, or all the negative thoughts you have, like, oh, I wish my stomach was flatter. I wish, my arms weren't flabby. I wish I had a smaller nose, fuller lips, whatever the hell it is. You think about all those things and then you let them go. Like, what I do to release emotions is I tense my whole body up and then I relax it. And I do that over and over with each thought. And then it really feels like releasing to me because of the muscle part. So you're in the bath and you're thinking your negative thoughts and then you release them. It's like, all right, all that crappy crap is in the water now. I forgot to say light your candle, but you would have your candle and it would have been lit. After your candle is lit and you've released all those thoughts, you are going to blow out your candle. This is one of the few spells where you blow it out in the middle of it. I blow out my candle and I'm like, you know what? That signifies that phase is done and over. Get out of here. So once your candle is blown out, now is the time that you invoke something else within yourself. People love to use perfume for this, or smells, anything that makes you feel good. So you're laying in your bath, your candle's out, and you're like, new phase, new me. I'm going to spritz my perfume on myself. I'm going to take my honey spell. I'm going to go ahead and add in my warming herbs, or what would you call these when they're ground down like that? Spices, warming spices. There we go. Found the word. A tiny bit, because honestly, if you add a lot of this, it's very harsh to the tongue. So you add a little bit in it, and this is just the warmth to the slow, because your honey represents the slow sweetness of like sensually loving yourself again. You're going to stir it up. And again, if you can imagine, I'm in my bath and I'm relaxing. And I've got this very sensual, sweet honey. And then that's what you do. You're bringing in the essence of the fire of loving yourself, the sun, like brightness within you, self-acceptance. I'm going to lick this on screen. And when you taste it, it's warm. You're imagining the sweetness. It's sticky. It's sensual. If you want to get into the sex vibe of this, that's also totally fine. But it should be about bringing this to you slowly. Self-acceptance doesn't happen overnight. And this is a slow thing. Now we're lighting our candle back up and it's like, boom, guess what? New me here. Now I'm ready to shine for everything. And that is your new, like, this is me loving myself, embracing my own warmth and everything that I've had that I love about me that I just said, in my head. And then you sit there and you love yourself in the bath, which take that any way you want to, but you love yourself. And then you end the ceremony in whatever way that you want to. When you're comfortable and you feel done, that bath water is like, that's all the dirty thoughts you had about yourself. I've never done this one on camera and it sounds so funny and sexual, but all the dirty thoughts that you had of your self-image, let them go down the drain. Now here's the really hard part. Take your candle, go in front of the mirror, butt naked. All right. Stare at yourself and like send love to all the parts of yourself that you already love. Like, I have beautiful eyes and, oh, I have such nice hair, but I really don't like this chin or whatever. Send love to the parts you already love and send loving, healing thoughts to the parts you don't love yet. And just be like, tummy, I hope to love you one day. I really do. I want to have this good relationship. I just wish you were more flat or whatever, but you can say things to yourself about what you want to imagine later. So then when you end your spell, end it how you want. Thank everybody for being there, your team of light. If you invoke any of the goddesses or whatever, just tell everybody thank you and end your ritual. And there you go. You can keep this around for any time you want a reminder of how to love yourself. You can use it in coffee. Actually, honey and coffee or honey and tea is really good. So that's a great way to use it after you're done with it. That's the spell for Moon and Leo. That's like the longest spell y'all have to hear tonight. Just because I love those rituals of like taking it slow, moon bath, accepting yourself, because that's something I've worked on a lot for me. All right. The last fire sign is Sagittarius. Oh, the fun people of Sagittarius. Where we had ego, then we had image. Now we've got freedom of mind and spirit. Sagittarius do not want to be fenced in at all. And they don't want to be told what to do. And they don't want to be told what to think. They do want to help other people though. So they really tend to go towards people who need a lot of help so that they don't have to focus on themselves a lot. But their fire power, what they have is they broaden other people's horizons. So they can be amazing teachers, knowledge seekers, deep thinkers. So to embrace during this Sagittarius moon, anything that broadens your horizons, like be on Wiki all the time, be on Google all the time, just like look stuff up, look stuff up, look stuff up. This is the element of learn and grow. Nothing is out of reach for you during this time. It's definitely a time to help others grow. So you'll find a lot of people willing to help each other during this time. Examining your state of mind. This is a tough one because Sagittarius being that fire sign, they really do get stuck in their head a lot. So examine your state of mind, how healthy it is, negative thoughts you might have. The stuff you want to work on is the restless energy, running from your problems, running from your responsibilities, never owning up to things you've done, like whether it's relationships, parenting, you as a kid, like working through some of that stuff is really good. Feeling, this is hard. Okay. I had speech classes, feeling fulfilled. Okay. That's part of it. And then issues with lack. So if you believe there's just not enough in the world, those are things to work on during this time. The activities that you want to engage in, any humanitarian effort, anything, any volunteer work, anything to improve your community, helping a little old lady cross the street, helping the cart guy put the carts back at Publix, like whatever it is. Then meditation with yoga and mindfulness, because Sagittarius gets stuck in their head a lot. They're actually really spiritual people and they just don't know how to express it. Like they don't know how to figure out how to get on that path. So they help people, which feels good spiritually, but then like they don't know how to help themselves. So they really got to get control of their own mind. So in this time, the activities for the Sagittarius moon is like go inside yourself and figure out your own head spiritually and with your community. All right. So the spell is super easy. And I didn't bring a magnet up here. I have hematite, which is like close enough my bracelet. This is all you need is this magnet. We're going to do a magnet healing if you've ever done one, which is really about grounding yourself. So you got this Sagittarius fire sign who's like all up in their head, and then they need to be grounded. So you're bringing in all these elements. This is really easy. Go to a place in nature that you can be alone, that you feel safe. Hopefully it's at night, or you can see the moon in the early morning hours. And then it's bringing this magnet in. The magnet is going to be attracting in abundance. And it's not abundance necessarily like prosperity and money, but it's abundance of thought, help, people, groundedness. Just it's bringing things into your life during this time. So because we only know what we have because we acknowledge it with our mind, this is a mental thing. It's what mental quality do you desire most? So we're not talking about bringing in physical things. You're not getting a new boyfriend or girlfriend or a car or house or place to live or cat. You're getting new mental qualities during this time. So I wrote down some suggestions for things you might want to work on, which is like peace, calmness, love, compassion, abundance, but like abundance in energy flow with people, not physical things. It's all about your state of mind. So all you do is go outside, sit in nature, somewhere safe, by yourself, do any pre-ritual stuff you want to do. I always light a candle and ask my team of light to be there with me. You turn on music. Okay. So the music with Sagittarius is it's something that they seek out, is these grooves. And you can do meditative music, chanting music, but you're holding your magnet and get lost in this song, whether you got like earpods in or it's a radio next to you or your iPhone or whatever, but get lost in the chant of it and just kind of like feel yourself. So you're sitting in nature and this is a grounding exercise where you're getting in flow with this music over here, and it lets your mind wander. It lets your thoughts go. And you're going to start imagining that what you really desire, you're going to put this to the ground and ask the earth to bring it forward to you, whatever energies, the healing energy, the peace energy, attach this magnet to the ground and just like be thinking that all of this is drawing in at that time, from everywhere, because the earth is where our abundance lies. So all of that energy is coming up into this magnet. When you feel ready, whatever that time is, you've done enough of your wavy dancing with your meditation music, sitting on the ground, you stand up, and all you're going to do is you guys are going to lose half of me. All you're going to do is take the magnet and then, trace over your body to places that your emotions might lie. If it's peace and love, like really put it over your heart. And like, this is the healing element for that you're just bringing it into alignment using that magnet. So it's totally in your head. Candle, no candle, it's totally fine. Any way you want it, your pre-ritual stuff. And then to end it, you just like, thank you to the earth. You can bend down and touch something, the trees, the grass, hug a tree, talk to a tree, whatever you want to do. End your ceremony. And then you walk away with that magnet that's been charged, and you can charge it again over and over again anytime you feel like you need to do this to heal these areas of you for energy. But that helps change the flow of how you think about stuff, up and down your chakra line. I actually have a very blank backside for prompts on Sagittarius. I'm very sad. I'm sorry about that. I can think of one. So if we're in Sagittarius, journal prompts would be like, it would be about helping others. So how does helping others make you feel? Can you feel that without helping them? Because this is about really getting in tune with yourself. So that's definitely one. And then, so the other one would be like about knowledge and broadening your horizons. What is something that you want to learn about? What stops you from learning it? What stops you from pursuing that? So those would be 2 journal prompts in Sagittarius for sure. And then we're moving on to the earth signs. Yay. My sister is a Taurus, so sometimes it's really hard to not write things specifically about her just because I know her sign so well. Like I've been dealing with this chick for 35 years. All right. So of course, this is the first earth sign. So its little motto or word to describe it is earthly matters. All earthly matters technically are within the realm of Taurus. Now, Taurus itself, because if you're in the signs and the pattern, you just came out of this hyper crazy energy Aries. Taurus is like, I want to kick back and put my feet up and relax. Where's my plush velvet pillow? Who's serving me grapes? Like, that's Taurus. You gotta love them. They'll make you enjoy the luxuries of life, which is great. So things to embrace. I have a motto for Taurus, which is like, stop and smell the roses. They need to do that. If they don't have time to slow down and do these things, they are chaotic and they get mean. Yeah, they get mean. So relax and smell the roses. So this is like, visit a botanical garden, of course. And then anything that's sensual, slow, and you can savor it. Let your mind wander on that, but sensual, slow, and savor it. So the honey spell, perfect kind of spell to do with anything Taurus related, because it is that very sweet, slow, sticky. You can't eat honey fast. I would love to see somebody try. It's like dogs with peanut butter kind of thing. There's no way you're chomping down on honey. It makes you go slow. So sensual, slow, and savor it. Chew slowly, eat slowly, drink slowly, make love slowly, whatever it is, but like bring it way down. Things to work on during this time. All right, this is where I don't want to put my sister's name in this, but careless spending. Tauruses that are out of alignment spend their money way too fast on really dumb stuff. Overindulgence. So because this is the sensual sign about enjoying stuff, overindulgence is a problem. Laziness, the plush pillow where they want to kick back. Yeah. They don't want to work for it either. They just want somebody to give it to them. And then lack of purpose. So a Taurus that doesn't understand their purpose in life will never find it. They'll be very unhappy trying out all these different things. But for things to work on, I'm not a Taurus, but when the moon is in Taurus, if you display these qualities, those are things that you can work on in this time because the sign promotes it to go into balance. The activities that you should do, live life at half speed for these 2.5 days. Just like take everything super slow. Don't rush in your car. Don't rush through the grocery store. Don't rush your kids. Don't rush walking your dog. Go slow. Even dressing and washing slowly are a sign of like enjoyment or realizing things about yourself. And then clean and beautify your home. everything tourist needs to be like beautiful, magnificent velvet carpets and plush couches and all of that. So anything to make your home feel beautiful to you is where it's at in the moon in Taurus. All right, so I have a great spell for this. I love this. I love plants so much. If I guess I would call myself a green witch only because I have so many plants, but this is a really, oh, you know what I didn't bring? I didn't bring money. We're going to pretend like my cards are money. I didn't bring my purse in here. All right. I want you to grab cash. It just needs to be green money. It doesn't have to be real. It can be, but they definitely sell fake money to use in spells, but grab money. It can be dollar bills. It does not have to be like $100 bills unless you want to, but grab a pile of money. Grab a plant, hopefully one that has like, this is a jade, which is just, it's a money plant. So round edges, nothing sharp, that represents fire. So anything that's like a rounded plant. And you're going to do your pre-ritual spell stuff, you know, light your candle, ask your team of light to be there with you, get in touch with yourself and like ground yourself, whatever it is. And then the spell is really about, you're going to ask your plant for its green abundance, right? So all of Earth, paper is literally made from plants. We have to connect these two things. So we're going to ask our plant to enhance our money. And you're just going to, also your heart chakra is green. So you're going to heart chakra it. You're going to hold your plant and you're just going to ask it, you know, do you have a name? I don't remember your name. You're newly planted. I split him up a couple days ago. Most of my plants have names. We're going to call you Jasmine Jade. Jasmine Jade, I love how green and beautiful you are. You make me so happy because you're so shiny and you grow all these adorable, cute leaves. And I would love for you to bring some more of your green juice into my life. And then you talk to the plant however else you want, but you're asking it to spread its abundance. And then you lay the money all around it. Oh, it's hard to see because my camera's not all the way down, but you just lay your money all around it, right? Money, money, money. Hey, Jade. Yes, I'm amplifying those dollar bills. I'm trying to soak in that green abundance growth because, you know, money trees, money should grow. Money does grow on trees, technically. Cotton actually is a lot of money. So we do all of that with our plant and we're asking it for help and we energize our money with the plant. And then you can end your spell however you like when you feel fit, but, you know, always thanking the elements in your life. This is a living creature that has its own vibration and does its own thing, which is why it's here. So I appreciate it. Thank you, Jasmine Jade. You're going to bring me lots of more paper because that's what I just energized. And that's it. That is how you can energize your money using plants for prosperity. This is wealth. This is indulgence in the good things in life, you know, for a vacation. You can ask it for specific types of money, whatever you want. Always thank it. And then, you know, put it appropriately somewhere in your house. Journal prompts. Sorry, I missed journal prompts. I got too excited about my green juice. Journal prompts for Taurus. This is about relationships with money for the first one. Describe your relationship with money. Do you believe that there's a lack of it? You know, is it only for people who work super hard or are born with it? Like, what is your money story? Did you grow up with parents that said money don't grow on trees, you know? Yeah. So describe your money story and how you think about money. Like, it takes hard work. You can't get money unless you work really hard, you know, kill yourself for 40 years and then you barely retire and live in Florida. I live in Florida. So once you've identified your relationship with money, just the best thing you can do is make goals to either save money, get out of debt. Like, that's what you want to analyze. You want to get to that better place feeling with money. The money that you energized using the jade plant or whatever plant you have, put that in your purse, wallet, bedside table, wherever you keep money to amplify more of it. Like, this can spread the green juice through the rest of your monies, you know, wrap it around a credit card or debit card or whatever to bring more money into you. The second question would be, how connected do you feel to the earth? So this is a big thing because the earth is our abundance. And when we have that disconnect, that's where a lot of people feel lack. Like, there's not enough resources for everybody, when really, I shamefully admit that I throw food away out of my refrigerator every week and I cannot figure out, how do I keep buying too much? Like, I'm so purposeful on doing this, but I'm wasting, right? So that's abundance going out my door that shouldn't. So it's fine tuning the, how connected are you to the earth, to how much do you need? You know, Why do I buy a lot like that? Am I afraid I'm going to run out of food? Like I can't run to the grocery store 2 times in 1 week? I don't know. And then it's strengthening your connection with the earth. Anything that you can do to strengthen your connection with the earth. I like to walk barefooted around my yard. That is and I have an oak tree that I really love and a pine tree that I really love. So I do that, and I talk to all my plants. And the bugs that live on them. Actually, I have a lot of little creatures. All right, so that was moon in Taurus. Next is moon in Virgo, which I am a Virgo rising. So this sign fits me a lot. Again, it's hard not to write about myself. But the moon in Virgo phrase for you to remember is helpful. Virgos want to be helpful. That is their passion. That is their desire. So when the moon is in Virgo, finding helpful people, you being helpful to others, like this is the vibe that's going on. It pairs very well with Aquarius, just in case you're wondering. Energy to embrace during this time would be love for Mother Earth. Of course, we're still in an earth sign. Walking barefoot in the grass. So connecting and grounding yourself for the appreciation of the earth. And you help the earth by, planting, growing, trimming, whatever it is, the healthy cycles there. Definitely helping others, and then caring for your body. So we are elements that eventually have to return to the earth. The better we take care of our bodies, the better we'll be for the earth later. Even though we're buried in concrete vaults, you can be buried in a natural cemetery, just so you know. There's a few in the country. Kat is actually in the death industry. For anybody who knows Kat, like that's what she does. Yes. All right. So to work on during this time, healthy boundaries. You know that helper that just won't quit and you're like really annoyed with them? Like, please get out of my face. I didn't ask you for help. Healthy boundaries with people who are helpful. Knowing when or not knowing, but first seeing if people need help. Don't just come in and start like taking over stuff. I was in the military, so I have a habit of taking over everybody else's projects. I have to have healthy boundaries, especially for organization, because I just want to do it all myself and not let anybody else touch it. It's like, don't give too much also. All right, so I help a lot of people, but then there are times when I say yes too much. People need help, and I'm like, yeah, I'll do that. And then it exhausts you. So work on not giving too much. A healthy body. So often when we're depleted, we don't take care of ourselves. If you've depleted all your energy, you're just like, whatever food, whatever drink, I'm not really paying attention because you're tired. Hoarding and collecting. So hoarding is extreme, but if you have emotional damage from something, hoarding can become a thing that feels like a security to you because you won't be without. So because this is an earth sign and it's physical stuff, hoarding actually makes people feel safe, which if you've seen the show, you know that people can die in their hoards. It's not safe. Collecting items, know when your collection is enough, too much, when to give it away, like just analyze that. Does it still work for you? Does it have a place in your life? Is it an emotion that you're so connected to that you're not giving it up because you don't want to deal with the emotion of letting it go? Aha, that's the time that you really want to let that shit go. All right, and then lastly with Virgos can be very strict and militant and like time schedule and expectations of people. Work on not expecting a lot out of yourself and others. Like if you hold yourself and others to a really high standard, expect disappointment. Instead of doing that, just say, I know that this could go several different ways. Here's what I'll accept in my life. Here's what I won't. Instead of just like, people have to be this way, cut, that's it. Yeah. People and schedules, that's a big one. So for activities, this is a great time to do anything new fitness routine. Woohoo! Virgos love their bodies. They love to be healthy when they're balanced. Health foods, any of that, take on all that knowledge. And then having time off, balancing those energies again, because it's the earth sign, you'll get so grounded and stuck, you'll become like a tree and you won't move. So you don't want that. You want to be able to get out and do stuff, add that fire to it. Volunteering and hey, new jobs. So Virgo is a great time to get out there and because it's a helpful thing, you'll find people helping you get a job and then things will help you along to get a job if that's a thing. And then cleaning up is a general thing. I put down like your house, your car, your relationships, the relationship with your kids, your parents. This is just general cleanup time in Virgo. Moon and Virgo, all those emotions about, getting stuff organized and getting rid of things that don't serve you. So journal prompts for Moon and Virgo are, do you feel that what you do is never enough? This is that healthy boundary question. Like, do you ever feel like you always do things and then it never seems like enough? Like, do you live up to your own expectation, or are you letting yourself down all the time? What I put in a response is like to spend time each day recognizing your small accomplishments. If you think that you really haven't added up to a lot, you've lived for however many years, you've done something because you're still here. So celebrate that you had a healthy meal, celebrate that you didn't get in a car accident, celebrate any win that you can find to bring that confidence back that you are enough. And then, because this is about work and meaningful work, does your work allow you to give your true value, your true gifts? Like, everyone has a higher purpose, and we're all trying to get to that and figure out what it is instead of just living life's template. Oh, I'm supposed to go to high school, then go to college, then get married and have kids, and, whatever, work 40 years and retire in Florida. Whatever your template is that you grew up with, are you living that because somebody else presented it to you, or it's because it what actually makes you happy? And it's, brainstorm ways to have a more fulfilling career. Fulfilling, that's a hard word for me. F's. Fulfilling career, a fulfilling living, living to your own standards and not somebody else's. All right, so because I did the spell stuff and it's already 7, gosh, yeah, I'm still on earth signs. All right, I only have spell ideas for the next few cards. And if you need clarification about it, please hit me up. I could have wrote out spells for every single one of these, but we'd be here till like 9 p.m. So spell ideas during this time, because this is organization, anything feng shui. If you've not looked into feng shui, it's a super fun way to reorganize your house, feel discouraged, and then like pumped up again. You never know what you're doing. It's like, it's a puzzle, and I love trying to figure it out. Feng shui is great. Anything health and fitness spells, starting a new routine, working on body image, whatever it is. And then the new job and career spells for a new job, or seeking a new career, or people to help you bring in a new career. Definitely a good time to do those spells. All right, our last earth sign is Moon in Capricorn. So if you know astrology, Capricorn is like the father, like the parent figure in the zodiac. And so it's not always a welcome sign, but it's focus and discipline. So that would be the catchphrase for Capricorn, focused and disciplined time. So when the moon is in Capricorn, that is what you want to go for. If you need focus and discipline, this is the time when the moon is like shining down on you. Hey, look, I'm helping you with this focus and discipline attitude right now. That's the energy I'm giving you. This would be embracing any kind of career advancement, goals, life purpose, and then sadly, relationships with fathers. That's a tough one for a lot of people. But anything relationship with fathers or father-like figures. On the opposite of that, things that you have to work on is if you have a problem with authority, this is the time to work on that. If you do not like being told what to do, so Taurus would actually do really well in this because they don't like being told what to do. But any problems with authority that you have, or following rules, or just feeling like somebody's got their thumb on you, work on that. Being too uptight, this is a time when like you do feel like everybody should follow your exact instructions to the T. Don't let them fall out of line. You'd slap them. And then health problems from aging, because this is the old sign, you'll start to feel the older things. So that's why activities are like, get a full body massage during this time. It releases the anxiety of being so uptight and strict. Full body massages are a great thing. Working on projects at your house, because you have that focus and determination, you can get things done. Making commitments, this is the time you'll be clear and focused enough to make commitments and then follow through with them. And then visiting old people or grandparents or fathers, any of the older and or male figures in your life. So the journal prompts for Moon in Capricorn, he's a hard guy, but it's how happy are you with your career? It's like going up for your end of year review for your job, and they're going like, what are you doing here? Like, what have you done? That's what it feels like in this time. So how happy are you with your career? And then acknowledging or adjusting the template that you're living. Somebody else's, yourself. Defining success. The second one is defining success in your life. Making sure that you know what success means to you, and not that everybody else is judging it and telling you what it needs to be. Capricorn energy has that effect where we feel like we have to live up to everybody else's expectations rather than doing what we want, which is good for us. Not like I do what I want and I'm a brat, but I'm doing what I want because it makes me happy. So life, family, career, health. And this is a good time to improve any goals that you're working on. Reflect on goals and then improve them. Okay. I'm on to the air signs. Yay. Air signs are fun. They're hard to figure out because everything's in their head and you got to get them to talk about it. So when the moon transitions through these air signs, there's usually miscommunication because somebody's not saying how they feel and somebody else is not responding in a way that's effective. And so air signs are all about communication and miscommunication. So the moon in Gemini, which we all know, it's the twins, but it's thinking and speaking. All right. Two things that are technically opposite, but one should come before the other. So this is where things get crossed. You didn't think before you spoke and you're speaking without thinking or whatever. Like mix those up and that can be the energy. But thinking and speaking is our motto for this moon. This is also an oxymoron, but they like quick chats and deep thoughts. So imagine that. Things are going to happen really fast and then they're going to think deeply about it later, which can be tough for them because they didn't say it all when they had the chance. So depending on how much you feel the moon energy in Gemini, this can create real problems later, like as the sign progresses into Cancer, emotions. This is all about communicating. To work on any misunderstandings, like try to catch them as soon as you possibly can, or ask people more questions. If they're not saying anything back to you, like ask them a question about what you said so that you know, like, hey, so you did hear me say, or how well did you understand what I said? Something like that. Speaking slower and clearer. I know that sounds insulting, but if they have to deep think, but they want something quick, you slowing down forces them to not go as deep. They have to continue to listen to the full thought. So if you speed up your communication, they're already they assume they know what you said and they're already in their thought. Give helpful insight. Like if you see somebody doing something and you already know that's not going to turn out well, like offer them another way out. In the grocery store, I often do this when I see people it's like, hey, that's there because it's expired. You shouldn't buy that, or whatever. That's an open package. I saw somebody put it back, something like that. Whatever you can for helpful information. And this is also another one that's connecting with family. So this rolls over. Activities to do. This is a time when I do encourage you to check your emails and messages all the time, checking messages. Because this is when people are like calling you, texting you, want to get together, want to talk about things. And if you miss it, you might miss out on an important conversation to heal something or fix something. So this is a time when you also should write your cards out. Like if you do a one day, I send all my birthday cards out, Christmas cards out, whatever. Do it in a moon in Gemini because you'll have those deep thoughts about it. You'll be effectively communicating your message. It won't be as hard. If you do it in Taurus, hope your holiday is great. Thanks. Bye. It's not going to feel as deep. It's just, they're like, whatever to get it done. Yeah. And this is another one that's like scheduled downtime because we're in our minds. We're going to need to continue to schedule downtime. The journal prompts during the moon in Gemini. This is tough. This takes total honesty, but is telling the truth easy or difficult for you? And then write your why. Like, I used to try to fib. I really did. And I was terrible at it. Number one, I didn't remember that I lied about something. So I told the truth later. And then they were like, but wait, you said this. I was like, yeah, I'm not good at this thing. So when I have to tell the truth and I don't like it, I just do lots of hand gestures to deal with my anxiety around like, I don't really want to say this to you, but it has to come out this way. So I know I admit to people openly all the time that it's very hard for me to lie so that they can know when they ask me a question that they don't want to hear the answer. You're going to hear it from me. Be prepared. So the second journal prompt would be, how well do you pay attention to your intuition? Like, because this is a deep thinking sign, Gemini are deep thinkers. They like to assign meaning to situations and conversations. How well are you paying attention to your intuition, especially when somebody's communicating with you, especially then. Then I love when people are able to recall instances. Remember a time when you followed your intuition and how it turned out, and a time when you didn't follow it and how that turned out. And it's like, oh, did we learn our lesson? It's all about learning to trust yourself in that. With spell ideas, the best thing to do in Gemini is either not do one at all or keep it very, very simple and very, very quick. They don't want a lot of jibber jabber. They just want to like get it done, boom, then go deeply think about it. So the hesitation there might be that they could think about all these spells they'd like to do, but they never actually do it. Cause it's like, oh yeah, all right. I feel like I thought about it enough. It kind of happened in my head. Yeah. But if you are going to do spells, keeping it quick, revisit one dark memory at a time during this time. Cause this is in your head. This is something that you might talk about later. It can deal with emotions to go into that dark spot, but going into the dark spots help you heal. And I always suggest that people always try to cry, because that is like, you just let it out, and then have music around you that can fix your mood while you deal with it. So any of the like brainwave music that gets you to a level of healing. So one memory at a time though. Don't try to go through like a whole year of living with somebody you hated or disliked a lot. Then there should also be no phone around as you do these things, because you don't want to communicate with somebody while you're in your feelings. Don't do it. It's just as bad as like drunk texting. Find lost family members is another thing that you can do during this time. And I just suggest things like 23andMe, and there's that other one, like Heritage, something like that. So if you do have family members that you've lost contact with or like never knew and you want to find them, this would be a time to like set those things into motion and let the Gemini energy work for you, because that's communication and that's bringing in the family. All right, Moon in Libra. This is my moon in Libra. Yay. All right. Moon in Libra is awesome. No, I'm just kidding. Moon in Libra is partners and unions. So this comes in two places, household and relationships, but this is also like legal matters. So what you want to embrace during this time is definitely romantic moods. If you've got a romantic partner, embrace that. Do something loving with your loved one or your beloved. Anything social ties. Libras love to be social, get out there, talk to people, connect, and having heart-to-heart talks. So say a friend's been going through a really hard time and you really haven't wanted to talk to them and hear it all. Now would be a good time to do that, because you're going to be more empathetic for their situation. You're going to want to help. Things to work on. All right. So if you don't know it, Libras can be really nasty with what they say, because they're so honest and they're just like, how do you not know this already? I don't feel like I'm telling you anything new. So work on your tone and your directness. During this time, you can get very like snippy or matter of fact, like the whole world knows this. What are you doing? And judgment of others. So those kind of go hand in hand, where it's like you think people know things and then come to find out, no, they've been in denial and only you see clearly. So just work on that, lessen it, bring them through, question them enough to get them to realize it themselves. They will accept it way more than you telling them about it. But if you have to tell them, I mean, hopefully you guys can still be friends afterwards. For activities, this is a great time to release old relationships. So if you have boxes packed up that you moved with when you were like 18, go through them and make sure there's no old love letters, old pictures of you and people that you don't date or talk to or even ever want to see again. If you like the picture of you or your family's in it, take little stickers and put it over their face. Like, this is a really good way to just kind of erase them from your history. That way, when you pull it out, it's like, I can see part of them, but you're not like all that bad energy coming back into you. So old relationship artifacts, that includes presents and gifts and stuff. I have an old engagement ring. I don't know what the hell to do with it. I need to get rid of it. I've been married for a long time to somebody else, and I still have this engagement ring somewhere in my basement that I need to figure out what to do with. It's just one of those things that, I got married at 19 and divorced at 20, and I kept the ring. So getting rid of that stuff. Yeah. Anybody want to buy a ring? No? Yeah. Okay. All right. So it was relationship artifacts. This is a weird one, but talk to strangers. when you see people alone, and I don't mean like creepy random strangers, but when you see people alone at the supermarket, if you see people alone on a corner and there's this weird, awkward silence, say something to them. How's your day going? Hey, how are you? And it's crazy how you can instantly connect with them. This is a Libra thing to do. We can uplift people just through talking to them. And it doesn't have to be anything more than that, which is great. You can walk away from it and be like, okay, I don't have to have a new best friend out of this conversation. That's why I didn't do it before. I didn't want people like latching onto me. I was like, no, I like my aloneness. But now I'm able to do it and walk away and be like, have a nice day. It's like, oh, okay. Easy interaction. So talk to strangers. If you are looking for a new love interest, this would be a time to join a dating site, get out there into the scene. That Libra new moon, man, makes people super sociable and ready to go. And then, of course, any legal matters that you need to work on. I don't have a lot in that category. I've been lucky, knock on wood. So when the moon is in Libra, here are some journal prompts that you can go through. Is there an issue that feels unfair to you? We have to remember that this is definitely the balancing of justice and fairness and all of that. And we can get very Libra moon energy. You can get very stuck in your feelings about it was personal. They attacked me. This was meant for me. And we don't even consider what's happening on the other side of the scales, like what that person went through or anything. So write about anything that feels unfair to you, and then write suggestions on how you can fix it, whether it's that you just accept it or deal with it or tell yourself that it wasn't your fault and this is not on you, whatever you have to do to work through that. But you don't want to hold on to the resentment that it causes when things are unfair. Writing, the second prompt is writing about your feelings. Writing. Wow, I'm going to start this for like the fourth time. Write feelings about the current relationship or the lack of. In either case, write things you're grateful for. Sometimes being single is amazing. You have nobody else pulling on your time. You have nobody else's stuff to pick up. That's also having children, in case you don't know. So write things you're grateful for. So in a lack of, those are some positives. In having them, it's like, I have a human that I've been helping raise, and 11 years were awesome. And I know I have like another 10 of like hell, but then it eventually be great. We'll be drinking buddies and it'll be awesome. You know, get to that point. And then having a relationship, of course, I have security in my life. I have somebody who loves me and lets me be myself in every way. So that's having one versus not. I can appreciate both sides of it now, but I was pretty stubborn and wanted to be alone all my life. I was going to be that crazy cat lady for sure, until somebody, decided to marry me. So with spell ideas, this is any legal help, any legal help. This could be over insurance, your rent, any contracts that you sign, partnerships that you have. This can be love and partner spells. So a partner spell, especially if you don't have one, it's sort of like that movie Practical Magic, if anybody's seen it. I hope you all have. But she does the really silly spell in the beginning, trying to create a person who didn't exist so she wouldn't be hurt by love. But it is a really good thing to list qualities, not necessarily physical things. I mean, I do have a height requirement. I was like, nobody under 6 foot for me. But other than that, it was generally open. But qualities about them, I needed them to be funny and have a really quirky, if not sexual sense of humor. Like, I say a lot of really inappropriate things because I was in the military. I need somebody who understands that and that I cuss a lot and often. So those kind of things were important to me in a relationship. So doing a partner spell would be like, I need somebody who likes or can handle all of those things. And that, if we live in a house, I'm probably going to have my own room just for my stuff. And then I'll still be in our room, but I need my own space. I'm that person. Releasing old relationship spells. So if you dig out stuff, this would be like cord cutting spells. If you guys have probably seen them or heard of them, any cord cutting spells would be super appropriate during this time. That's just where you release somebody's energy that's from you. You don't have to get a cord to do that. You can just imagine it in your head that anything and everything that they dumped on you is like returning back to them. And that's what you ask energy to do. You don't ever really like banish energy. You ask it to return to where it came from, because it can't die. It can't like disappear. It has to go into something else. We put things in the earth. We put our feet on the earth to clear out our energy, because the earth will cleanse it for us and send it back out into the world where it needs to go. But it'll put that balance back. All right. Aquarius. We're into the Aquarius moon. Aquarius are great. Their theme is all together now. Like they're super happy people to be in groups. They love to, or when you want to embrace the Aquarius moon, it's socializing with your besties. Find your besties, socialize with them, get that time in. Connecting with others and setting things in motion. So those can go kind of hand in hand. It's like helpful people, set things in motion, work on your plans to get things done. That's the Aquarius sign. What you want to work on during this time is balancing between self and community. This is another one where you give too much or too little. You want to balance that self and community. And then my experience with the Aquarius moon is we tend to not want to be ourselves. We want to be what other people need us to be, because this is a very helpful sign. This is where we all want to get together. And so when we're together, we usually try not to be individuals. We try to be a group. Well, that can lead to taking on traits of other people or the group. But for this, I tell people to work on still being yourself in a group and find people who accept you rather than bending to the will so that you get accepted. It's a hard thing to define, and you don't really know it until it's over that you've done it. So be mindful of it in group settings, that you can be yourself and just find the people within the group that are more like you, that tend to feel like you do. Activities. So this is very odd, but birds and bird singing and bird watching for Aquarius, it really helps them get out of like the community of people and helping all of that, and then into nature watching, that which makes them feel like they're more free. They don't have to be part of the group. They can be on their own. So the bird watching, listening to bird songs, intuitively listening to your heart's desire. So however you go through that process of really feeling what's in your heart, Aquarius moon is all about that, because it wants to help you come together and bring wholeness in. Of course, the other thing is with community. Do community things that make you feel good. For me, community things means like, I try to help old people at grocery stores. I don't know why. That's just something I've taken on in the past like 4 or 5 years, because I see them get ignored by people or not acknowledged. And it's heartbreaking. I never had grandparents. Old people used to scare me. I used to think they were just going to like die. So I would not approach them. I was like, oh God, I don't know what to do if he falls or he starts grabbing at things. I'm not trained for this. So I have a lot less fear about that now. And I talk to them and they have the best stories, or they're just the most polite people, or, that's something that I did to grow, was put myself out there with older people to help them. And in grocery stores, because I guess that's the only place I really go these days is grocery stores. For journal prompting, here's 2 questions for you. And this is a big one, because this changes people's lives for good or bad. Are you happy with the community that's around you? Imagine your teenage self and the friends that you kept. Imagine your 20-year-old self and the friends you kept. If you're in your 30s and 40s, your 80s like me, however many generations of friends you've gone through, imagine how much you've grown from those people and being able to let them go. Or you haven't, or you are still stuck talking to people that are in high school and you have way outgrown them. And you're like, why do I continue with this relationship? It just takes me back to BS. So the answer to that is, how do you cultivate a greater sense of belonging in a community? Like, how do you find your people? Me starting this meetup was that for me. I was like, there are so many people out there that don't have a witch to help them. I've been, practicing 22 years. I need to form a community and get people involved and together in something. It's going well. It's going very well. So that's how I cultivated a better sense of community, is with anybody wanting to learn about witchcraft, spells, paganism, whatever it is, the holidays. I love this. And since I'm a Virgo rising, helpful people satisfies that too. All right. The second thing is too many things left undone. If you have too many things left undone during this time, the Aquarius needs that group. Sometimes doing things alone is very hard. So they'll have a lot of unfinished projects or half-done things within their house, within their job, within their life even. Relationships that don't get fully cut off because nobody supports it. So look for that. Look for the things that are left undone, and then set your priorities to make sure that things get closure, and tackle them one at a time, always one at a time. For spells, this is pretty easy. It's self-acceptance, because you want to be who you are, no matter the group. So do a spell for self-acceptance. That would be a lot like the ritual bath for, self-love, or like bringing your fire back into you. Owning your power. This is a hashtag type these days, like bringing your own power back to things, reclaiming that. Starting a new cycle of anything. So Aquarius can break away from the group and start something brand new, start a new group. That Aquarius moon allows for that, because the moment you start something new, people will attract to it. You'll find that better group cultivated. And then this is a great time to change old beliefs. This is that cord cutting time. So anything that you don't want to believe anymore, things negative speak, I adopted a girl a couple years ago, and the thing that she always said about herself, she's like, I'm just stupid. I was born this way. I'm stupid. I was like, wow, what? And I just had to keep telling her every time she said it, I was like, you're not exposed to it. You're not born with, none of us are born with this. You haven't been exposed to it. You're not stupid. You've never been given a chance to learn it. But I had to do that for about 6 months before she finally realized that I'm right. Of course I am. She's not stupid. She just hasn't been exposed. And she went on to be a dental hygienist, and she was like a failing, dropout from high school type thing. I got her back in high school, got her all caught up. She did 2 years and 1 year of high school. It was a push, but I just had her visit here like 2 weeks ago, and she's 21 now. And it's like, oh my gosh, the person you've become, it's beautiful. I'm so glad that for that year, I stuck it out, because it was not easy. Changing beliefs is hard. It's very hard. It's easier when you're younger, but it's definitely much harder when you're older. All right, we're moving on to the water signs. Yay. Yeah, and it's 7:25. James, water sign. All right. You're going to get really tired of me talking about emotions, because that's all this is. All right. When the moon goes through these signs, now the moon is water anyway, so this is amplified. The moon should make us emotional, but when it's in Cancer, when it's in Scorpio, when it's in Pisces, it's so much more. It's so much more. I had these out of order. All right. So first comes the Cancer water sign. And this is all about family of your choosing. All right. That's the motto. Cancer, family of your choosing. You do not have to be stuck with the people you were born with. You don't have to be. You can choose somebody new. So sometimes Cancer chooses the family they were born with, and they just suffer, or they help change them, or they do something. But if you're a water sign, you should not stay in a place that makes you suffer. Get out of it, heal, come back to it when you're stronger. Best advice ever. Things to embrace when the moon is in Cancer. Loners, which sounds wild, but embrace people on the outskirts. If they're on the outskirts, it's because they're different. They're deep thinkers. They have unique ideas. They don't fit in with the crowd. People who are water signs can totally understand that. We can get to that level with them because we're so mutable. Embrace your feelings, of course, feelings and emotions. Embrace those damn tears, people. Let them out. Watch whatever movie you have to make you cry, and let it out. It's very cathartic. And then anything that gives you inspiration, really bring that into your circle. Like, find inspiration every month if you can, something new that inspires you to keep going. The problem with water signs is they can get stuck in the past. They can really feel those sad feelings, and nothing breaks them out of it. So inspiration and people who inspire them, or things that inspire them, are really important. So when the moon is in this sign, I want you to experience your feelings, but I also want you to find inspiration and hope in something new. When you're working on stuff during this sign, it's living in old feelings. Or if you haven't grieved something, it'll keep touching on it during this cycle. It'll keep coming up, and you're like, no, push off. No, I don't want to deal with it. Find a good cycle to deal with things that you haven't fully grieved over. And this could be through the cycle of old relationships, family members who have passed, family members you never got to know. I still grieve for never knowing my whole dad's side of the family, and I probably never will. I will never know why I look the way I do, because I don't look like my mom's family. We always joke that I'm part alien. So, maybe my alien family members will come down one day, be like, hey. And I did 23andMe, and I had 1% undefined, which the only thing they say is that nobody else has your DNA yet of that 1%. I was like, I think there's a good call for me possibly being part alien. Got it. All right. So when you're working on the living in your old feelings, grieving over something, and then anything that creates blocked energy, anything, pets that pass, being your fears create so much blocked energy because nothing can get through a fear. You relive that. So if you pull up to places and you're always like, fear of, I'm gonna have to walk forever or something crazy, you know, fear of, my mom didn't call me back, so somebody went in her house last night and murdered her, like crazy fear thoughts, find a way to shut those down because that blocks energy. Activities during this time, if you've never done a chakra cleaning or alignment, whatever you want to call it, have one done one time. Hopefully it's a good person. Hopefully it all goes well, but it's a really interesting thing. They're not that expensive, maybe like between $30 and $60 for a half hour to an hour. So definitely working on your energy centers is a great thing to do. Any kind of crystal work, if you want to do grids, if you want to learn more about crystals, if you want to get in touch with that side. Mental health work. So if you see a counselor, then scheduling them on the days when the moon is in the water signs, you're going to have more impactful emotional meetings with them and really have breakthroughs once those feelings come out. And then, of course, healing and feeding your soul, whatever that means for you, whatever feeding your soul is. All right. So with journal prompts for the moon in Cancer, because it has to do with family, this is all about addressing your childhood issues. So Capricorn was daddy issues. Cancer is childhood issues. And it's the big one for me that I've noticed with a lot of people. I'm 40, so I've met, you know, in the last 20 years, people who have this problem a lot. They didn't get to be a kid. Like there was some lack of something, lack of a parent, lack of a parent having money, whatever it was, but they had to take on responsibilities very early for siblings, very early for getting a job. They just didn't have a lot of time to be a kid. So the question is, you know, did you get to be a child when you were young? All right, that's yes or no. But it's in one way, you're either going to grieve over that loss of a childhood, grieve over it, be grateful for what it taught you, or be grateful for having that childhood, if you did have one, all the way through and on into your adulthood, and grieve for the fact that the broken families that we have around us, and that you can empathize with. What would it be like if you didn't get that? What would it be like if you didn't have a supportive family and you were forced to go to work at, 12, 14, whatever, drop out of school even to work for your family? So go through both of those scenarios, because this is all about our deep emotions and our feelings towards things. When you understand it better, you understand yourself. The second prompt is, do you take things personally most of the time? This is a problem for water signs. We often think that everything's directed at us, to us, there's something wrong with us, it's our fault. We take that on. And until we work out that it's not our problem, that it's other people who have temper tantrums, it's focus on how to gain perspective. So if you do take things personally a lot of the time, focus on gaining a new perspective. With the kids that I work with, I often tell them, they don't like their teacher. It's all the time. Every teacher's an asshole. And I was like, God, I don't think all of our schools are full of just teachers that are terrible. But every kid says that, oh, they're awful. They're awful. I'm like, imagine what their day consists of. I want you to understand what it would be like to get up in front of kids. First off, to be to school at 6 a.m. And then I walk them through that whole day. And then they're like, that sounds like it sucks. I was like, yeah, and they do it for you. So like, be grateful that they show up every day just to try to teach you something, even though you reject it all the time. So gaining perspective on things, that would be like putting yourself in other people's shoes or whatever. All right, spell ideas. This is obviously healing emotions, healing yourself, childhood trauma, youth spells. So if you want to stay young at heart, or if you have taken yourself too seriously for too long and you want to really bring in that youthful spirit, the Cancer moon is perfect for like bringing up your childlikeness. Where Aries is childlike playfulness, but it's like fiery and outgoing and you already have the energy. This is bringing up the joy of just being a kid and not having responsibilities, or not feeling like they're just trampling your life and you have no life. That would be the childhood stuff that you could bring in now for youth. And then health of mind. I dealt with PTSD. I sought counseling for 3 years. It took me 10 years to do that. And now I finally have peace of mind. I'm like, wow, getting me to that place took a lot of people, a lot of time, a lot of retelling the story, whatever. But now that I'm here, it's freaking great. Just so you know, it's worth the effort. It's worth the effort. All right. So that was Cancer. We're on to Scorpio. So with Scorpio, their mantra is really psychic. I don't know if you guys know this, but Scorpio is the sign of the witch. It's definitely the crone or the knowing one, the wise one. It's so deep in the feelings that it's hard to come out of. So when the moon goes into Scorpio, you can have some really good vibe with witchy stuff, or you can have some really bad vibe with witchy stuff. They can get really cruel and sort of out there on like revenge. So that there's two ways to take this in, but they do have the psychicness where they know people's weak spots. They know how to read them. And when the moon is in Scorpio, people act a little one way or the other. It's like they get really intuitive and they want to be around other intuitive people, or they kind of get like, I'm going to do some devious stuff. I'm going to, here's how I'm going to pay that MFer back. So what to embrace during this time, your insights and intuition. This is why I always talk about journaling. If you get great dreams during this time, if you get, these feelings of like, don't turn down that road, or drive your kid to school this day instead of letting them take the bus, whatever it is, I write it down so I can follow up with it later. And this is also a go deep into your feelings time for sure, like the deepest. What to work on is balancing feelings that are misplaced. So because of Scorpio's super psychicness and its ability to see, like to have that intuition, it doesn't mean that it's always right, that every gut instinct is right, that every gut feeling they get is right. So they can often be very suspicious of people. Trust no one, I've been done wrong, whatever. So if you have feelings of mistrust, if you have feelings of suspicion over things, this is a time to work on that, to heal through it, to gain insight even. You can ask, this is a huge divination, so tarot cards, runes, whatever you want to do for divination, but this is the time to really seek answers internally or with your team of light. The activities would be, this one's so funny to me, but being social without any promises. So it sounds weird, but Scorpio likes to hold on to things. They want things to mean something. And so when they start something, it's like it needs to go somewhere. And you don't have to take on the responsibility of other people's feelings. You can let that go. So you can be social and then part ways. Practicing that during this time is really helpful. The healthy boundaries definitely applies here. And then this is a big one. Practice listening first. Like instead of jumping to conclusions, instead of going totally with like, oh, my gut tells me this, I must be right, I'm a Scorpio, like just keep listening, trying to learn something from the situation. Journal prompts during this time are about death experiences. This is definitely ruled by Hecate, and we've got several other like Egyptian goddesses that deal with the cats, and just, I didn't write any of this down, so my book of shadows would be flipping through that sucker. But any death experiences, near death, seeing death, anything that you've had to do with that, and then how you think about it. What does the other side look like to you? What do you think happens when we die? How do you come to terms with children that have died? How do you, the death in general, animals on the side of the road, hunting, anything to do, the fact that, you may or may not eat animals, anything with death. Then writing about your emotional needs, getting very, very in touch with what you actually need emotionally. A lot of times Scorpios do not feel fulfilled by the relationships they have because they don't know how to express their emotional needs and get that reflected back to them. So during this time, it's really good to say like, here's my emotional needs, or figure them out and then talk to your partner about them. Or when you get a partner, before you do anything sexual with them, state your emotional needs first. It's always the best way to go, because you'll know immediately whether or not you should have sex with them after that, how they react to your emotional needs. It's like, oh, you wanted there to be something with it? Oh no, I'm not about taking care of you. So it'll be reflected in how they treat you. Spells during this time would be the same thing. You can go deep into the other side of death, talking to past loved ones, reaching in. Divination is really a thing for here. So like, I just connect tarot with this all the time. Scorpio for me is tarot because that's my divination process. But this could be fire scrying, water scrying. If you want to do runes, if you want to do tea leaf reading, anything that you want to get into, this is a great time to learn it and practice with it. James, last but not least, it's Pisces. Oh my goodness. So I am a sun Pisces. And Pisces is like, I feel like it's one of the most misunderstood, but also the most talked about as far as, that they're head in the clouds, too dreamy, never realistic, live in delusion, all of that. Yes, that can be very true. Thank God that we were born with other planets that balance that. But for Pisces, the thing to embrace during this time really is your dreams. Do dream work, like journal your dreams, ask to see things in your dreams, try to control them, get deep into that. We have mysticism when we're asleep. Anything in your subconscious also, if you want to bring up stuff that you're like, why have all of my relationships failed? Like, what am I missing? What do I need to work on? If you think you're, pretty put together, like embrace anything subconscious. Intuitive prompts. So this is that don't turn down the street, don't go to the market, or do go to the market. I'm picking my kid up early for a day off, whatever it is, like these little impulses that you get where you're like, where the hell did that come from? My team of light, one of the things they've been doing to me my whole life that I don't understand yet, because one of them has to be like an old musician. They send me songs in my head that I've never, ever heard before. And then I'm humming it and I'm like, I literally don't know that song. I have to call my mom and be like, what is this song? I don't know it. It'll be a much older song. Like they do that to me. And I was like, all right, well, what does that mean? What are they trying to tell me? Or are they just singing in my head to, entertain themselves? I don't know. So that was embrace. And then it was things to work on is getting in touch with music and dance. All right. So water signs are usually introverted. They're more in their feelings. They don't necessarily have an outgoing side to them unless they have other planets aligning right. But in the moon for Pisces, you could be an amazing exotic dancer, not like a pole dancer, but exotic in your movements and understanding your own body, because we are the water sign that's like head in the clouds, sort of. Getting anything physical, you work on that during this time. If you need to be more about your body, about your physicalness, about your sexuality, anything that involves your body, this is the time to work on it to balance that out. Activities, I only have a few because it's a water sign, they're all the same, but meditations, dreaming journals, getting together and talking to other people about your dreams. To do a dream journal, as soon as you wake up, write down all the things that you remember, but most importantly, write down the feeling. More than the symbols and signs, it's all about the feeling. And then explore why you would have feelings of, either afraid or bliss or whatever. But the feeling is what should be the first thing that you can talk about. Dream journals are a big thing. They were able to communicate through that process. So your team of light may be just like, your dreams will be your biggest sign with intuition. All right, so last water sign, of course, the journal prompts are to write about your fears. What stops you from moving forward in the areas of your life that you want to improve? What are those fears? That's obviously blocked energy too, but you have to acknowledge the fear first. Is it failure? Is it not living up to something? Is it defeat? You don't have the knowledge, whatever it is. And then it's write about how you can overcome that fear. I have a goal to hold a tarantula. I don't dislike spiders, but tarantulas are just really big and they have really big fangs. It's like, I've already swam with sharks and that was okay because I feel like they were more afraid of me, but tarantulas will crawl on me. They're not afraid of me. So I have to get over that. But that was a goal of mine and a fear where I'm like, once I do that, I'm going to be unstoppable. Like, that's the one thing. The second journal prompt will be trust. This is really important for people with high energy emotion. So during this time of the moon, your trust stuff could really come out. And it's writing about, what trust issues you have or don't have even. Do you trust yourself, your instinct, your intuition? Are you paying attention to that? Do you have trust issues with your relationship, your children, your parents? And then it's exploring how that got started, what it means to give your trust versus not. Do you think that you're more safe because you don't trust, because you don't give that away? That's a key thing to think. If you think you give something away, that means it's taking your power. So trust isn't something that's given away, it's earned. Explore that, explore trust. That'll do you wonders. With spells during this time, the spells that I do mostly involve the ocean and the moon. It's always about seeking guidance. So the spells that you would do are definitely about reading your intuitive signals and however you get them, whether it's, all the things I mentioned before with divination, but then it's going to be for yourself. So Pisces is the very last sign of the zodiac, which means that we have lived every other zodiac sign already, right? We know all the lessons of those things. There's one last lesson to figure out during the Pisces moon, and that is yourself. So this is really getting in touch with yourself, your feelings, what you're going through, why you're going through it. So that's the spell work to do during that time. And that's like so big that I couldn't tell you a specific one, but anytime you're in water, whether you're swimming, you're in the ocean, you're in a bathtub, let your mind wander and you'll receive pictures, images, thoughts. Write those down because water is what's going to activate all of that, especially if the moon is in Pisces, like all that's coming down strong. And that is every sign. I am so over time, 7:45. Yeah, I am sorry for, believing I could do it in 50 minutes. That's, I have high expectations of myself. It's wonderful. I am open to questions. I know that it is so late. Y'all can log off if you want to. If you have questions later, you can definitely hit me up on the Meetup app. You can do the personal messaging, or you can message me on the actual Meetup activity, however they say that. The event messaging. I get notifications either way, but the floor is your guys'. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. Oh, crap.